Hey, this is Horns Up. I'm Animesh.
And I'm Peter.
And yes, it's time for a breakdown. We've got the brand new song by Bombay's very own Pacifist. It's called The Bridge Between Us. And to help us figure out what's up with the song and the band, here's Siddharth and Apurv. Hey, guys.
Hey, thanks for having us, guys.
Okay, that was Apurv. And
What's up? What's up?
that was Siddharth, just in case you were wondering who's who.
And he's trying to figure out his podcast voice again, huh, Siddharth? We're here to talk about your latest song, but before we break it down, what's the elevator pitch for it? Who wants to go first?
I think Sid is the only good candidate for this.
Elevator pitch, sure. It's, I guess, Pacifist's most distinct track, very different from anything we've done before. But also, we've foreshadowed this to a fair extent, and I would say this is like our straight up like melodic emo hardcore tribute in a way to, I guess, bands that have really done that style justice over over the basically the last 2 decades or so of the existence of such music. And yeah, it's just like infusing all our favorite things, I guess, about various shades of like not just hardcore, but even like indie music and guitar music across all that entire, like I said, spectrum of sounds. So yeah, that's practically it.
Okay, awesome. So here it is in entirety. Here is The Bridge Between Us. Alrighty, gents, let's break that track down. Very interesting. It clocks in. What's the official clock in? Is it like 319 or is it actually Stone Cold 316? with 3 seconds of gap.
Nice one, nice one. Yeah, we like doing like these outros that fade and stuff. We've got a bunch of those on our songs.
Yeah, yeah.
So technically, when we play it live, it's never that long.
Yeah, we played way too fast live anyway. Like,
Also, so that yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
wait. Good. I'm glad you brought this up. But okay, I'll bring this up later on in the conversation. Making a mental note.
Alrighty, let's break this down. Okay, now if I was someone who'd only heard the EP Resolve and Against the Tide, I'd be double checking if this was indeed a pacifist song. What's the reaction you're expecting from such a listener?
if you have like seen us live, like we've been playing the song out live quite a bit. And I think in that context of the live set with all the other songs, like you mentioned from the EP and Against the Tide and Resolve, like it actually, like you're totally right. It's like the most unlikely like pacifist song. But in the context of everything, it also sort of like works. I think it's like been like a inherent part of all of our like sort of like music tastes and inclinations. And it's just like I think it's like come through in like a little bit more melodic way on this song more than others, but it's like definitely something that's like very true to us at the same time, you know. And I think it's more of one of those things that like we feel more free like exploring these sounds now than we did before, like especially with the EP, you know, like it was like very like straight up like hardcore with like
that's
punk,
right.
like that. And this is just like us having fun with it, also just like not really thinking about it too much in that way and just like going for it if you're like enjoying it.
I also feel like there's a segue here, like in the sense, if you have heard our previous songs, if you remember the outro on Against the Tide, I feel like that's literally like one of the best pieces that Apurva has ever written, like put down, you know, on record for us. And this song like starts off with a great lead line, and I think that is kind of a signature us thing, a signature Apurva thing even. So you know,
yeah, and I think the clip you just played is basically the genesis of this song. Like this was what we had, and we were like, okay, this is like cool. Let's build on it, and then. I mean, yeah, we can talk about it as the song progresses, but like the little clip you played right now is like that was the crunch of the music, at least. Like, that's where it all came from.
Alrighty, so let's build on that then.
Always starts with a guy, the hurt and the words, and that he'll remind, leaves behind in his way. Things move so fast, the trust we're falling in, inhibition to instinct. Oh, the consequences, the weight of expectation, the lure of lust, emotion, of distress.
Okay, clean singing and backing vocals. Who's behind the mics for backing?
That's me.
Apurva, yeah.
Since it's only you, was it a challenge to record the backing vocals and to sing and to actually sing? Because most often backing vocals, case in point, are just
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's also like some new territory that we've been exploring. And I think that whole sort of thing comes from this song. And I think this originally, it wasn't like, it's not like we always had like a backing vocal part. It was more
That's
like
right. That's
during
right.
the recording process, we were like, how can we, because it's such a melodic song, it just made sense to have like melodic sort of like harmonies more than like any like shouting or something like that from the backing vocals.
And to be very fair, I mean, this is also like I full credit to Apur for being a true producer for us in that sense. Because like he said, you know, we played the song a bunch of times live, and it's not like we always had the backing vocals until we actually put it down. And for me, it's great to hear him, you know, do more singing in general, because he's got a great voice. He, out of all of us, like, you know, it's really great to see Apur also use his entire range of abilities in this band now, you know. That's also been like a progression for us to see, like, you know, him apply himself in so many ways. So
Did anyone else want to sing as well?
And I'm not that great by myself also. I think it just makes it better.
No, I
My
think it's
power
also
metal
true
days.
because it's very complementary voices, and
That's true.
Yeah,
also
that's
what
true.
Sid is doing, and then me doing the longer held like notes and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it was kind of like a fun thing for us to explore. And then now that we have this song in the pocket, like we've been sort of like applying that to more new songs, and like like it's just opened up new possibilities, I guess, in that sense.
Do you guys ever think you'll end up with a guest vocalist?
That I don't know. See, the thing is about guest vocalists, it's fun to do live, but I don't know about on record. But I mean, I wouldn't rule it out also. Like, but for now, I
Tabby
think
just saying, Tabby.
gang shouts.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to get Pacifist to do proper gang shouts. It's been only just like me and
Yeah.
Apur doing stuff now. Hey, wait, I didn't these guys do one gang shout like Utkarsh also? I think isn't
Yeah,
that?
Utkarsh and Ashish have both actually like shown a lot of interest in like doing some backing vocals. So maybe
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
see at least live and stuff. Let's see.
yeah.
Let's talk a bit about the
Yeah.
lyrics, right? This is again like a bit of a departure from your earlier kind of themes, so to say.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's the inspiration behind the lyrics of this track? And is this like standalone or is it part of a larger theme or story for
No, no,
an
no,
EP
no.
or an album?
Nothing of that sort. See, honestly, like this, like we said, it's a very unique individually so unique that we didn't see it sitting anywhere else also, and we felt like it's so strong that it needs to also be put out there. And
Mhm.
for me, honestly, like the lyrics always fall into place after I kind of try and understand the emotion like that I'm feeling through the music itself. And I mean, there are a lot of I guess emotive parts in this that kind of naturally just lent itself to writing something that was like a little more emo. Yeah, I mean that's the word for it. Yeah, that practically is the word for it. So
Yeah.
just went with that. Went with my instinct. Went with a theme of heartbreak and loss and failure because it just felt very immediate and very. I guess it came to me easily, and I think that's also a good sign for me if I'm writing a song and if something comes to me easily, that means that the inspiration is clear in my head. So
Mm.
and I guess the song was written in a very weird time and place. We literally wrote this while in the middle of the pandemic when we met uh, for jams, in 2021, and we wrote this song in a couple of jams, and we tested it, took it on the road when we played like that one tour with Celestial Teapot. That's actually
Mhm.
how the song was born. It was literally a product of that time and place and space. And I mean, of course, we had like a demo of sorts that was floated around, and we were working on it like in a remote capacity. Apur was working. More than half of the band was still in Bombay,
Mhm.
so like they could instrumentally like only Utkarsh and me were out of Bombay for a bit, so that they could instrumentally like sit together, work, jam, write music, etc. A little more, frequently. So yeah, we had like all those things in place, and I think it's a proper, like most things, it's a product of a particular time and space. I think
Yeah.
Grayscale Dreams is exactly that, and so is this song. It's just what it is.
Okay, awesome. Let's continue.
Separated by the blade, forced into uncertain fates. Oh, the pain is what's left of this never-ending ache.
So, a distinct thing about this part was that you finally notice, especially if you're listening on headphones, that the guitars are hard panned. Who's in which ear? Is that something that's constant?
It is something that's constant. So Ashish is on the left, and my guitars are on the right, and that's actually constant across like all Pacifist songs. Like, if you're ever wondering, yeah.
What happens when you get a third guitarist?
Uh,
Oh, Sid is
Dead center. Yeah.
yeah.
If there's a third guitar, then it'll just be me playing like one drony, like riff
So
for them
powerful.
to jam over. Yeah, we'll enter that era at some point, I guess.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. That's funny, actually, you say that because we like some of our first shows, like Sid was playing guitar. Like
Mhm.
most people don't know that.
Oh,
like,
Yeah.
Of course,
Yeah.
I
it
remember
was
this.
yeah, because it was just me on guitar, and then we were like, it'll be dope to have a second guitar.
Technically, like Apurva and I wrote the meat and potatoes of Grayscale Dreams on guitar.
Yeah.
No, it seems so crazy when you say that because, like, in the last recent times, I've only seen you all live with Ashish, right? But now that I'm going back, wait, wasn't that that was the Riot Peddlers also on that bill, right? The Against the Tide.
That
Yeah,
was
that-
yes, yeah.
But-
And by then, like we had already been
Yeah,
like
by that.
this
Yeah.
lineup for at least like half a
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, so this was
But-
before that show when it was.
Yeah.
It's also like such a different dynamic live. Also, like it's like I think it's great that like Sid has the freedom to like has more freedom, I guess, on stage. It's
yeah, I'm very
fun.
awkward with a guitar on stage. I realized like maybe it's better to, I guess, do some songwriting because it helps, to have a guitar. But
Yeah, absolutely.
I think yeah, I'm much more happier like with a mic on stage, more natural.
I mean, you touched upon this a little bit earlier, so I want to double tap a little more. When it comes to the lyrics, am I allowed to say the C word here? Because
What's the C word?
COVID.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
Because you're
God.
separated by the plague, forced into uncertain
Yeah,
fates.
I mean,
I
like,
mean,
that's a
Just the
that's a
pain is
perfect-
what's left of this never-ending
Yeah.
ache.
yeah.
I mean,
I
this
mean,
is emo Sid.
Very, very cheesy, thoda sa cheese hai, thoda sa cheese hai. But I guess, see, the thing is, I just went for, okay, like, when you think about, like, great, I guess, songs that, like, have a wide appeal and have, like, an emotive theme to it, you kind of want to hit a few strings, right? Like, reach out and touch upon certain feelings or, like, relate with something. And I
Mhm.
think that's like a huge motivator for me also, like in terms of what I am writing. I mean, it really depends on, once again, where you're coming from, what you're intending to do with a song. You could go with a theme, the thematic thing could be a way to go about it. You could be like in a place of like complete fiction where you're inventing like a character and I guess like, a narrative of some sorts. And these are things I have been able to do in the past in my previous projects and like whatever capacities I've been involved in other musical pursuits. But this was actually the first time that I think I got to sit and write like actual like emotional like honest writing in a song, and it is a little like it feels a little vulnerable to do that. And but I said, what, that's probably what people would also appreciate, just being open and honest and vulnerable and just sharing something that could also be something that people can connect with in a larger sense, because it, like I said, going back, it was a product of its time. It was a very weird situation. A lot of people were kind of stuck with their thoughts and their emotions and the bottled up stuff that probably that wasn't really processed, or
Mhm.
people were going through a kind of like a mental health crisis around that point of time, to be very, very fair. And I felt like maybe, just addressing that through the song would kind of be an outlet, not just for me, but even for people who could relate to it. So I think it's very fitting that, it came to be in that time.
So C, of course, was first uh, relating to COVID. Allow me to bring in another popular C word when it comes to songwriting. Was the song cathartic for you, especially since you said what you said right now?
Yeah, I think, see, this would be, once again, it's this would purely be, I guess, my take on the song. But sure, I mean, it was an element of catharsis. I would say an element of catharsis exists in all of Pacifist
Yeah.
writing that I've had to do. It's just different emotional channels, I guess. And the one that I went with on this one was a bit of, like loss and heartbreak, or like, those themes. So I just go with my gut.
That's a
Yeah,
good
and like
thing.
Sid mentioned, like the catharsis part, cathartic part is definitely like a staple pacifist thing. Like
Mhm.
I think our music definitely stems from some sort of like release,
100%.
and even musically for this song, like the sort of progression of the song up until now, like sort of builds to this chorus where it's like, it like totally lets loose on the chorus, and that's like a big cathartic moment. And then I guess that's like followed by the
Yeah, it's really explosive when we do it.
that really
live.
like explodes because
Yeah.
yeah.
Always misunderstood, losing herself to servitude with every passing day. Hard enough as it is to please the world that's satisfied. Ambition has a
To talk a little bit more about the hard pan guitars and the fact that you have two very individualistic guitarists playing their own compositions as such, but still staying rooted to the song or to the riff or to the melody. What really is the challenge as well as the opportunity to come up with these kind of compositions?
The challenge and the opportunity both are in the same thing. And like you mentioned, it's like I think we work pretty hard to have like distinct guitar parts. Like for us to have two guitar players is like it's a given that we'll both definitely be playing two different things. Like there's probably not a single time in our entire set or in our entire catalog where we're both playing the same thing. And I think there is where the challenge lies, because you don't want to overindulge in just that. Still has to serve the song, but at the same time, that's like a songwriting tool we use, which is to have. So like if you really think about it, there's like three melodies going on at any given point. Because there's like two guitars playing two different things, and then Sid's vocal melody on top of that. And then actually, if you notice on that second verse, there's like towards the end of it, the bass also does like a melody on top, So I think that's like a kind of like a pretty hallmark like Pacifist thing, where we try to like pack as much melody and like it's like stuff that you can like listen to the song a bunch of times and be like, oh shit, that's also happening.
You can always go back to like discovering it, I guess, if you keep listening.
So I think the challenge and the opportunity both lie in just like sort of like writing the perfect part, or like coming up with the perfect part to complement the other part that already exists or something. And we did actually go through quite a few revisions for these verse parts, because I think the verse part on the right that comes in, that was always there, but then we were like, okay, what should we do with the other one? Like what should the other guitar be doing? I think for me, some of the biggest inspiration for the verse sections was like bands like Fugazi and stuff, where it's like you can, there's so many things you can play around with. Like you can play around with just the dynamics or just like an additional melody or something. And I think we worked all of that in.
And when you wear the producer's hat and you're recording everyone and you're making sure everything is sounding good and great, talk us through that when it comes to recording your own band's music, especially when you have these kind of composition kind of rules and things that you guys are doing.
Right. I think for me personally, it's like it's very challenging to wear that producer hat with my own band, because I don't know, I think I just approach it differently when I'm working with other artists as a producer versus my own band. And I think I guess like in terms of the production, it was all sort of like sorted out before we hit the studio. So like, like if there was going to be a second part or like any additional layers or something, that was all like, we worked all that stuff out before we actually hit the studio. But interestingly, the recording process for this song was a little bit like tumultuous, I guess. Like we originally decided to like record it live, and we did that. So it was basically drums, bass, and the two guitars all together.
Okay.
And it sounded, I mean, the takes were great and the energy was great, but we just weren't perfectly happy with the guitar sounds. So that was like, it took us a while to just be like, okay, actually, you know what, it's not good enough. Let's just retrack. And I had to like message on the group. I was like, guys, I'm sorry, but like, what do you think about like doing this?
Hey, I know another band that recently released a bunch of songs that pretty much did the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. So we did. So yeah, I think that first session was at Island City, and then we went in and re-recorded the guitars at But yeah, it's definitely a challenge. I think I've like over the period of time that we've been a band, I've definitely gotten better at it. And I think with this new EP that we've been working on, I've actually been able to like channel some little things that I've like learned as a producer working with other bands and being able to like channel it with Pacifist. But I think when we were recording the song, it was still a bit, I wasn't exactly on my, like, I didn't know exactly how to approach it as a producer, but also as like a band member, right? Like there's no hierarchy there. Like you're all just like equal part of the same thing.
That's true. Okay. Alrighty. Let's continue.
Actions wait for plans to fail, and addicted to the shame. Always jokes with a vice like pretending masks and veils. She wanted answers to her questions while he
would you consider this a pre-verse or a verse?
We
That's a
call it
quick
the
question.
chorus.
Or a pre-chorus.
This is a chorus.
Okay.
I
my
thought the
head, this is a
chorus was
chorus.
I thought the chorus was the lead
hook.
melody that
So we don't.
starts at
Yeah,
the
that's
beginning or
No,
the
so
hook.
so
Or,
that's like just the guitar. We call it the guitar part.
guitar hook. The guitar hook.
Guitar
Let's say that.
But this is
Okay,
definitely in
okay.
our minds. This is the chorus. Like
Yeah,
Okay,
it's like the
fair.
chorus because it's like the soft to the loud. So the loud becomes the
uh-huh.
chorus and the soft becomes the verse. And the
Okay.
opening intro is just like a thing that reappears later. So
yeah,
Okay.
that's if
Okay.
that makes sense. Yeah, that's
Okay,
maybe
wait.
that's the bridge between us.
Ooh, I see what
Okay.
you did there.
I mean, I know at least Apurva, you talked about this entire recording being tumultuous and stuff, but I'm guessing that's not typically how you all write a song, right? Or at least this song. So, how do you all typically write a song, and how different was it?
I don't
Yeah.
think it's ever been the same for any song. It's been different
Yeah.
for each song. So
Okay.
yeah, sometimes it's just like everything happens quickly. Sometimes it's songs are completed when we are in a production type space. So I guess this was one of those songs that we wrote while like I mentioned, like while we were not necessarily in the same space,
Mm-hmm.
but we finished it when we got the chance to. And then we perfected it, I guess, in the studio. And then we reached to this iteration after a fair bit of like push from
yeah.
Apur's end also to like meet, I guess, what our vision or like what his also vision was,
Uh-huh.
as a from a production point of view. So
Yeah.
Let's play out the next bit, and then after that, I'll come back to discussing a bit about structures. Here's continuing the track. Now I know that the guitar hook part here is the guitar hook part, and it's not the chorus or the hook of the it's not the chorus or the pre-chorus or whatever. What's the band's most comfortable song structure like? This is a weird question because I know there's no fixed answer for this when it comes to a pacifist song.
Yeah, like Sid said, basically, like there's literally never like all of our songs are so different.
very, very.
Yeah, I think one thing that we all sort of like enjoy, and I think most of our songs have, is like a very distinct like B section, which funnily this song doesn't have, right? Like the song just go. So
Yeah, actually,
don't know.
this is traditionally like a verse, chorus, verse in a way, with only
Yeah.
one refrain that comes back,
yeah,
and it has a distinct melodic outro. I guess that's the structure of it. So in certain ways, this is our most accessible song. I mean, in a lot of ways, in fact.
yeah, I think like even structurally, like this is the most accessible sort of like song, palatable song and stuff.
I mean, I certainly think it is. So,
Yeah.
No, definitely is.
Here we continue. And there you have it. That was Pacifists, The Bridge Between Us. That was the breakdown. Just talking about the song a bit more. When you guys write your guitar parts together, Ashish and you, Apurv, do you write them together or do you go into separate places and write them individually and then come back and check?
Yeah, we definitely always like write together in person. And with this song, it was a bit like different. Like I had that guitar lead part sort of, which was the main idea for the song, and so I kind of had like a rhythm part for that also. But whatever parts we work on together, it's always like in person, and we do it together, and like it's a lot of like riffing between in between us both, like we're constantly like changing our part to suit the other, or being like, okay, let's pull back there or whatever.
So this is for you, Sid. Is when you're writing the lyrics, are you hoping like specifically that certain parts become like a crowd sing along or shout along?
Like for here, you're repeating "betrayed" by matters so complicated
See,
so many
my
times.
reference points vocally have always been like, I guess, people who have written great, like, memorable things, right? So not just the lyric, also like how they phrase the lyric, or how they uh, add a certain, I guess, emotion to it, or add a certain melody to it. It's a mix of all of that, right? So it comes to me from, I guess, that aspect of me being a listener and what I enjoy listening to, and me trying to just aim and, you know, achieve that. So yeah, I think, and I think the shouty, like, outro, like the betrayed matter so complicated. So you get to do like a little, classic pacifist, syncopated yelling happening over there, I guess. So, I just went for it because, and it is kind of an intense outro, like, because it is the culmination of like a separation, or like, of like, the theme is around love and failure, right? So it is that lamentation towards the end. So I just wanted to give it that sort of, I guess, the anger or the disappointment you would feel with yourself is the, like, direct, I guess that's the emotion that you'd say would be the anger here, as opposed to like it being an angry, like, fuck you to, I guess, existential stuff, which was like more grayscale reasons. That's the context that shifts over here, but you can still use the same voice and the same projection, and it could mean something so different.
I love how it ends because it's a resolution, but it's not a concrete resolution.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like the end of a chapter in a longer story. What do you think of that interpretation? Was that what something that you guys were going for?
I mean, sure. I think there was no intentional, I guess, this thing. It's just tastefully done, I would say. Like, because, like I said, we've done like all of these outros that, uh, you know, fade, or have like a little space to just be, and like, hang in there. So I think, yeah, that was like, that just came naturally.
Okay, so I know you touched a bit upon this, but let's get some like timelines of sorts. How long have you all been like working on this song overall? I know at least you all talked about. Okay, I know. Clear. I mean, for our listeners, because you all cannot see it, Sid just like literally face palmed himself of sorts. So please,
We
do
prefer
you
not
want?
we prefer not talking about this, but
No, it's good. It's good. I think people should also know that it's like, there's a lot of labor that goes into something you really care about. And
Yeah.
I think we'll own up to it. Like, we took our time, and it was important we did, because there's so many aspects to this, like, to putting a piece of music out in today's day and age. It's no longer a simple thing we put out on, like, I don't know, Reverb Nation like 10 years ago, no? 10, not
Oh
10,
my
15 years
God.
ago, whatever, or MySpace. Like,
Yeah.
it's, unfortunately, there's so much more shit that we have to do as a band in this time and age. So I think it it was a culmination of all of that. Like, there were a bunch of failures, when it, like, challenges, in fact, when it came to this, doing this song. Like, I guess, I don't know, Apu, if you were to elaborate, or if you want me to like give a summarized version of it.
yeah, go for it, dude.
So like, there were, like, ways. I think there was a issue with like the way the guitars were recorded, and Apu was struggling with like getting the mix right on that. Um, like I said, it was patchwork. We recorded one piece at one point of time. The drums were recorded at one point. The guitars were recorded at another point. We wanted to do the overdubs at another point. The vocals came in. Uh, we There were attempts at the mixes. We were trying to get that sorted. We tried to make a music video happen for this. It didn't fall through. That was pretty bad. Then we tried to like go back to it. Like, how do we do it again? And even in that, like, even the artwork, we were trying to like do something new. We were trying to innovate. We did a piece of collage art, great work from our friend Kanika.
Yeah.
And but how could we take that and turn it into like a kind of like a complete, piece of art, right? It was an abstract concept, and we wanted to contextualize it in some way. how do we extend that idea or that concept into a visual? So much of stuff, and we finally arrived at this great piece of video that uh, Rana Ghosh from Reproduce Artists helped us put together, shot by Ishani Mitra, and it's directly invoking inspiration from the stuff that Kanika did on the artwork. All of this shit took time it just because we didn't know where to go actually. We were
Yeah.
just figuring it out as we went along, and thankfully we've had like the support of I guess well wishers and uh,
Mhm.
people from the community. Like it's not like a bunch of these people we worked with for the first time, but they kind of just trusted us and themselves with what they were doing, and
Mhm.
they kind of got our vision with the song itself, and then from that to the visual, aspects of it, and that's how we came to this point. And yeah, it's been a journey, and I think it's an important one for us, like in terms
Yeah.
of all the learnings we've had, as a band.
Okay, so since you said that, I have to lighten it up. From the initial parts, what remains of the song then?
It's all still there. It
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah,
just a
Achha,
matter
it's all
of,
still there. Okay.
yeah,
it's
yeah.
all still
It,
there.
it
It was
didn't get reworked.
yeah, like Sid mentioned, it was just like it was more about us perfecting it, getting it right.
Mm.
And if it didn't feel right, then just making the call to like, okay, just let's do it again. It's not good enough or whatever. So I think that's the thing that took time, and also
Yeah.
like building the visual identity that I think the song has like a really strong visual
Yeah.
identity now, that also took a while. So like huge credit to everyone like who worked on that.
Against the Tide, and you were kind of alluded to this
Mm-hmm.
earlier when we started off, was like the first track where listeners got like a glimpse into the melodic side of the
Sure.
band, right?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And is that the sound that they can expect from material going forward from Pacifist, or will it continue to be a big mixed bag?
I think the mixed bag is the best because we enjoy the mixed bag ourselves. So, like, other thing is, I guess also it's how we've written music so far as a band as well, right? So
Okay.
we've written a lot of individual tracks, and I think the next offering will be a collection of these in, incredibly, like I would say, different and individual tracks, and and each of them has their own style and presents, like I guess, a flavor or side of us in some way. So, but I mean that's obviously what we can talk about, like the immediate thing, because it's recorded, like it's completed music that is set for
Mhm.
a release soon. But I guess moving forward, we would like want to probably, I don't know, we'd probably figure out if there is a theme we want to go back to, or a mood or a style we want to go back to, and define because a lot of great records are defined by having a very particular style and feel and mood to it, start to finish. So I guess, yeah, we'll just mature into one of those, I guess.
Or we might not like.
Yeah, we'll just go broke trying otherwise.
I think the thing is like that we're never really like we don't really set out to do anything specific, and
Uh-huh.
it's like just like let's like find something that we all love and like build on that,
Yeah, yeah.
and just kind of take whatever shape. Like even Grayscale sort of like took shape as it went.
That's
It
true.
wasn't
That's
we
true.
didn't have the full concept and stuff when we
We
started.
had no idea. We were just trying
Yeah,
stuff out. We
yeah.
just wanted to
Yeah,
do something in a band.
yeah, yeah.
So just a quick thing, right? Since you all kind of mentioned this, it popped in my head. Animesh and I, now it's my memory is failing me, but I don't know when we spoke to this band called Necro Panther, and they basically each
Earlier this year.
member,
Yeah.
earlier this year, they each kind of wrote, individual members wrote an EP/album kind of thing in their style. So who knows? If you all want to go like the whole hog, I think
Oh,
that's the way, right?
then we'll have a Meshuga EP coming up.
No. In case anyone's wondering, that's their drummer Varun Sood. He's going to get them.
Oh man.
But okay, I mean, I spoke about this earlier, and I want to know. This is the second shortest Pacifist song after Reactionary,
Is it?
and
Is it?
yeah, I mean, I actually looked it up. I actually went
Okay.
through all your songs.
Okay.
And that's why I had to clarify it was 319, right? Was that intentional? I mean, from your reactions, it doesn't seem it. But
No,
like
no,
for
no,
me,
no.
that was one of the things I was thinking, like, shorter, hookier songs, melodic, accessibility.
But
I
you know
don't
what? Actually, this song was like way shorter. Like that whole guitar sort of outro that's pretty long now, like wasn't that at all. Like the song ended actually really quickly, and then we were just like messing around, and we had these like cool guitar parts running. We're like, oh sick, let's extend it. And then Sid came up with the vocal part. So it was actually going to be like 2.5 minutes.
But I think there is a consensus, I think, with a lot of people in hardcore that 2.5 minutes is a lot of time to like write a great song.
Yeah,
It is.
absolutely. And with Pacifist songs,
Do you want to
like,
add to that, Animesh?
That's like a set list, yeah. 2.5
No,
minutes.
that a setlist if you're a grindcore band, but for a hardcore band, that's a good
song duration.
Yeah,
Yeah. Also, like there's so much packed into it, right? Like
that's true.
there's so much happening. There's so many like distinct sections and like so many guitar parts that come in and out. Like it definitely feels like a lot. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
Now imagine I was one of the original fans of the band, the OG gang, way back from
Right.
1993.
Right.
Been with you guys right from the beginning.
Right.
I may be very pissed off right now because lyrically and thematically, this song resonates with
first
so
four-
many more
The first four albums are
people.
the best.
Exactly, it resonates
Then they
with so
sold
many more
out.
people, right? It's shorter. It's your second shortest song.
Right.
It's more melodic. It's not as
Sure.
heavy.
Sure.
We spoke about being accessible or accessibility.
Sure.
Was that something that was weighing on your minds before you
No.
stood out to write this?
Man, so, like going back to like what we said, it's not like there is so much to explore in hardcore. If you go with the tropes, if you go with like the stereotypical shit, then you'll always end up doing tough guy hardcore, right? And it's not even like we are that. We're anything
Yeah.
but that. And
Yeah.
we've always had like a aspect of us as listeners and as musicians that ventures way beyond that even. And I can sing to a fair extent. Apur sings well to a fair extent. Why not, put that to good use? And it's not even an intentional thing. Sometimes a song just asks for it. I mean, if you wrote a great hook, if you wrote a great melody, why would you not want to do something nice with it as opposed to just, I guess, force yourself to just stick into like a corner.
That's a
Yeah.
beautiful way of putting it, because then essentially what you're saying is that you can you guys are so at ease with what Pacifist is that Pacifist can be so many more things.
Yeah.
Are you getting me? It's not like, imagine Rage Against the Machine putting out a ballad. That may never
wouldn't have
happen.
happened. But
Right.
we were never that hard set.
Exactly.
ever,
That's what I'm
right?
trying to say. That
Yeah.
Pacifist, because of how unique its identity is, even in I honestly, I wouldn't say we have a hardcore scene in the country or anything. We have 2 or 3 handful of bands that
That is
kind of
3 bands.
can be examples for that genre, right?
That's right.
So it's not like a scene, but definitely Pacifist seems to be the one that's most rounded off in those aspects.
Yeah, and I think like Sid alluded to earlier also, like you'll sort of see a lot more of that, honestly, because like he was saying, like the new EP is all very distinct songs, and it's not like everything we put out is just going to be like something completely new and you won't ever find like any common thread, but it is something that we feel more comfortable doing. Like I said earlier, that like we feel free to like if we enjoy something that we're making together, then we won't second guess it too much. We won't question if this is like if this will appease the sort of like OG hardcore.
Yeah. We're not
community or
we're not
anything
thinking
like
of
that.
appeasement.
We're not
We're just
playing
thinking of
to
whether
any-
it's sounding good to us. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's ultimately what matters.
Yeah, that is really what matters, and especially when you're a band, like also like helps you grow so much, and also like you develop like closer relations, like both musically and when you're like just open to each other's ideas, open to each other's like inputs and new things that you want to explore. It's great that
Mhm.
way.
Okay, so I have to at this point ask this, since you all mentioned it, and I think Animesh also talked about this earlier. Is you guys play this like very differently live, right? So were there like different? Because
I don't think
because when I first heard it, I was like, wait, I've heard this song, and then when you all talked about playing it live faster, I was like,
Right.
yes, I know.
Like it's faster.
This is yeah.
I don't think we intended to make it sound too different like that. It definitely wasn't intentional.
Is this
Yeah,
live
we
energy?
do end up
Yeah.
playing it like really fast, and it's funny what like a like 5 extra BPM will do to like a guitar like melody.
Exactly.
It sounds so different. But that's also something that we've been like working on, like
Yeah.
so yeah.
Tight hona mangta.
Tight ka nahi yaar. It's more about just like doing the song justice even when you play it live, right?
Yeah,
Especially
that
when
comes
you're a
down
listener
to
who's heard the song
exactly.
and you
Yeah,
expect that, and you should
And not getting carried away also. Like,
not getting
exactly,
carried away. Like
exactly. That's what I meant by tight hona mangta. It's not just about playing it to one particular BPM. It's playing it the way it's meant to be played.
the way it's meant to be. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, guys, any additional plans for the release? What all are you guys doing? Are you like doing specific merchandise or something related to this song? Is this just a prequel of sorts or a preview to the EP? What's happening?
Yeah, I mean, this is a starting point for more music to come. I mean, that's for sure. Merch and stuff. Yes, there are things in the pipeline. We want to try and sort those out soon. Gig is happening. Obviously, Animesh, you and I, both of us know that. And
Yes.
yeah, I think Kapur can
Degenerate
tell
Disco
us a little more about.
Boys. Yeah, Degenerate Disco. While he's
Degenerate
speaking about
Disco,
the
yeah.
gig, 20th September, 499 rupees.
That's right.
That's like not even the cost of 2 Starbucks coffees or one pizza.
Not on
It's
biryani nowadays.
cheaper. One
I was
biryani is
going to
not,
say, or the beer at the antisocial.
or
yeah,
beer
like
at
one
antisocial, whatever. And if you're like, if you're just fresh into college, just show up, man. We'll probably just let you in.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't even have to then pay 499 rupees. Just carry your valid student ID. It's happening 20th of September, Wednesday, antisocial. It's one day after Ganpati comes into everyone's lives.
Definitely loud and clear, guys. If you're under 21 and you want to show up for this show, please come with your college ID and you get free entry. No questions asked.
No
Let's do this.
questions asked.
Just show
Let's
up.
pack the house.
Full first day immersion party
Yeah,
as
Visarjan
well
party.
as Visarjan party. Drown out your
Let's warm up.
sorrows.
That'll be
Everything
warm up. Huh?
done. Done. This is the place to come and blow all that steam off. Wow. So that was a great plug. But that plug came midway between a thought that Apurva had. Apurva, remember what you wanted
It's
to
fine.
say?
I mean, I was just I'm not sure exactly.
We
but
were
I was
talking about the
just
music
sure.
and stuff to come up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So yeah, actually, the main thing that we're working on and working towards right now is getting the EP out as soon as we can. We're for no other reason than we're just like super stoked on the songs, and it'll be it'll be nice to get them out soon. We're also planning to hopefully like play some shows and do like a slightly longer tour than we've done in the past, like towards the end of this year. The merch thing also sort of like really rounds out the visual side of this song.
Yep.
And everyone who's like worked super hard on the visuals, like Kanika and Rana on the edit and Ishani doing the the video and everything.
Yeah.
There's so much for us to play around with, and we're gonna find some interesting ways to do it with some cool merch soon, I guess.
So all of that coming right your way. Once you've heard the song, come back and then listen to this episode again, because then you'll be able to appreciate the song better, hopefully.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'll just seem like a catch up with 4 people. Consider us your friends. Let us know what you thought about it. We are always at honsupod.com or on Twitter or X at honsupod. I'm on Twitter or X at Asmoani.
If you need to search and find out more, just search Trend Crusher and you'll find me. Come on, Apurv.
Yeah. Follow us on Pacifist India, pacifist.india, all handles everywhere. Buy our merch, show up at our gigs.
Yeah, show up at the show. Degenerate Disco, let's go.
Alrighty, guys. What's up?
All right. Thanks so much, guys.
Hands up, man.
Thanks, guys.